everyone. Today also we'll be doing a continuation of chapter 2, that is natural resources, soil, land and water. Okay, before I proceed, let me give you a recap of what we did. We discussed about land resources, how many percent of land covers the earth's surface, as well as we were talking about the land use and conservation of the land. We also discuss about soil, formation of the soil, as well as soil profile. Okay, today we'll move on to soil resources in India or of India. Okay, so in ancient times, it was cold, okay, or it was divided into two broad categories. Soil were divided into two broad categories. Okay, now you can just look into the picture. Number one, okay, number one, it was called as Urvara, which means a fertile land where cultivation can be done as well as crops can be grown. Okay, number one is known as Urvara. Number two, that is called as Usara. Okay, when we say Usara, it means soil or maybe a land area which is infertile and then plants are not even grown. Okay, so in ancient India, land was divided into two main broad categories, that is number one Urvara and number two, that is known as Usara. Okay, Urvara means a fertile area and Usara means a unfertile land or maybe an unfertile soil. Okay, now when we look, okay, the differentiation or different types of soil which is found in India. So I want all of you to look into the map of India. Okay, number one, there is a light green portion. Okay, you can just see it. It is mostly in central India. Okay, this portion have soil which is called as alluvial soil. Okay, so when rivers originate from high mountains, okay, and in the course of flowing down, what they do is that they bring along with them a huge debris of soil, silt, clay and sand together along with the water, okay, mostly during the rainy season. And so during that process, what happens, slowly by slowly, when they venture out from the mountainous region, it starts flowing down the plain areas. Okay, so this soil, sand, silt and clay, they start accumulating in the river banks. So this soil, it is known as alluvial soil and is a very fertile soil. Okay, and here crops can be grown at a very large level. Point number two, that is the black soil. It is found in mostly the regions of Gujarat, Maharashtra, as well as some portion of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh as well. Okay, so these black soil are from the volcanic lavas or volcanic rocks. Okay, and it's black in color and it is also a very fertile soil. Next you have the red soil, that is the pink portion in the India map. Okay, so this area comprises of red soil. Okay, but it's not as fertile as the black soil. But when you add manure in this kind of soil, then you would be able to grow crops. Next, that is the fourth point, we have the laterite soil. Okay, it is light pink in color, those portion, okay, it is light pink in color. These are known as the laterite soil. Okay, and it is red in color as well, and cultivation can also be done in this type of soil. And the fifth point is the mountainous soil. Okay, you will find mostly in parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim, as well as in portions of Arunachal Pradesh as well. Okay, so in this kind of area, okay, what happens is that they contain a large amount of humus, okay, that is the decay particles of plants as well as animals, okay, which creates more minerals to the soil. So in this kind of region, again, the soil is very fertile and they are able to cultivate plants and fruits such as apple as well as pears. Okay, next we have the desert soil. Desert soil comprises of sand, and so because of this they are not able to cultivate as well as grow crops, because this kind of soil are not able to hold water for a very long period of time. So what happens, this soil is not being used. Okay, moving on. Alluvial soil. Okay, so just look into the video, you can just see that the river banks all accumulated with sand and silt. Okay, clear. So this sand and silt, they get deposited in the river, and this is used for cultivation because it is a very fertile form of soil. So you can just see in this video as well, cultivation is just done near at the river bank because the land is very fertile. So you can see the black soil. Okay, it is formed by lava flow or from volcanic stones as well. Okay, clear. It is found mostly in parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, as well as some portion of Rajasthan. Okay, red soil. Okay, you can just see in the picture how it looks. So it is not much fertile, okay, compared to the black soil, but if you add manure, okay, for cultivation, then you would be able to grow crops at a very large scale in this region as well. And in this region you can grow crops such as jawar, bajar, as well as groundnut. You have the laterite soil, that is the fourth point. So it is red in color, and it is found in regions such as Western Ghats and parts of Tamil Nadu, and it contains a rich amount of iron and aluminium, and so it has the red form of color. And in this region you can grow crops such as tea, coffee, as well as spices, coconut, as well as rubber plants in this region. Moving on, we have the desert soil. You can just see how sandy it is. Okay, and because of this nature, it's not able to grow crops. Okay, it is found mostly in Rajasthan and Gujarat, and also in some areas only you will find areas like this, okay, where water is stagnant, but in large area water is less in this region. So mountain soil. Mountain is very rich in humus, like I said. Because of the dead plants and animals, humus is being generated and provides minerals to the plants. And we can also see that mountain soil is formed or found in the Himalayan region and the northeastern part of India because we have a mountainous terrain, and it is very good. This soil is very good for cultivating pears as well as peach, plum. Okay, moving on, we have soil erosion. Okay, why do soil erosion happens, or what is soil erosion? Soil erosion is simply the runoff of the soil, upper layer of the soil, due to several factors. That may be in terms of climatic condition, maybe because of human activity. Okay, so these are the regions when the upper layer of the soil gets degraded. It is called as soil erosion. And also there are two factors which influence soil erosion. Number one, that is the physical factor. Okay, so if you have a poor soil, or maybe mostly in high areas, okay, when there is heavy rainfall, what they do is that these create soil erosion in this kind of region. Or maybe if you have cut down a huge area of trees, or there is less vegetation, then soil erosion is bound to happen. Why does soil erosion happen when there is no plants? Because just see, when trees grow, roots go deep down, so roots hold the soil, okay, as well as the leaves leaf play a very important role. Why? Because they also cover the rain, or maybe the force of the rain, okay, which if there is no leaf, then obviously soil erosion is bound to happen. If there is no tree, then soil erosion is bound to happen. But when you have trees on a large scale, it prevents the force of the rainfall as well as bind the soil together through the roots. Okay, so we should check that as well. And next factor is the cultural factor. Okay, cultural factor is mostly by human activities, okay, such as overgrazing of livestock, overusing of soil. Okay, these are all caused by human beings. So this is the cultural factor. Moving on, conservation of soil. How do we conserve soil? Number one is by afforestation, by planting more trees, as well as number two, overgrazing, controlling overgrazing. Okay, so we should control overgrazing. Like I told you, you rear cattle, keep on letting them, have the particular, grass in the particular area, then all the grass will be eaten up. Okay, and if in case rain falls, then obviously it will lead to soil erosion as well. So we should avoid this kind of overgrazing as well. Next, we have to change our agriculture pattern. We do agriculture on a very large level, okay, but what we do is that most of the time our agriculture activities also hamper the soil. So we should change our agriculture pattern. Okay, so we have to follow certain things or maybe measures in order to prevent such kind of soil erosion. Okay, number one is crop rotation. Okay, when you are doing a cultivation in a certain area, okay, you don't just cultivate one crop. Okay, you have a field, you cultivate 2-3 crops at a time. That is called as crop rotation. For example, you are cultivating maize. Okay, one line or one area you cultivate maize, the other area you are cultivating tomatoes, or maybe you are cultivating potatoes. Okay, so that is called as crop rotation or rotation of crops. Okay, clear? Cultivating crops all together. Strip cropping is somehow same with crop rotation, but everything is to be grown in a straight parallel line. Okay, and next we have the terrace and contour banding. Terrace cultivation, we all know, right, how we do terrace cultivation. Okay, so just see, if you are cultivating your crops in a hilly area, so what will happen? Mostly the soil will become loose and then it will start, going away because of the rain. But when you do terrace cultivation, okay, clear, the water will come down, but it won't bring down the soil. Okay, it won't let the soil to flow off from the field. Okay, so because of which we should adapt to terrace cultivation. Next is contour farming or agriculture. It's also somehow similar with terrace cultivation. Okay, we will cut down steps out of the hilly region and then we will start doing agriculture as well. Next, we have the cover cropping. Cover cropping is basically, during off season. So during December, January, November, December, and January, Feb. What we do is that we don't grow crops during that time, such as rice. So during that season, we cultivate other crops in the same field, so that the soil would not lose its fertility as well as the soil would not be eroded. Okay, so that is called as cover cropping, following the land. Okay, that is another way. Next is rock dams. So in some certain areas you can create rock dams, okay, in your agriculture field, so that water would not take away the sand from the certain area as well. Okay, now moving on to water resources, like the land. Okay, water, it covers 71% of the total earth. Okay, it covers 71%. Okay, out of which 97 is not usable. 97% of water is not usable. Why? Because it contains salt. For example, oceans and sea, they contain high level of salt, and so because of which we are not able to use that water as well. Okay, so in our world we have only around 3% of fresh water. Okay, about 2/3 of the water remains frozen. Okay, most of the fresh water, about 2/3 of the fresh water is being frozen, or maybe is there in the glaciers. Okay, and only 1% of the fresh water is available on the earth's surface for fit for human use. Okay, so we have 97% water covering our earth, but out of which, okay, if you just look, see, 97% is not usable. Okay, 71% of total surface is covered with water. Okay, as well as 97% is not usable. Why? Because of high content of salt, and we have only 3% of water which can be used. Okay, fresh water, but out of it 2/3 is either frozen, or like it's, you know, in the mountainous region, or is in the glaciers, okay, which cannot be extracted. Only 1% is there where human can use it, as well as use for their agriculture use as well. Okay, so water is available in the form of rivers. Okay, you can just see rivers, lakes, as well as groundwater. So what are the waters that we can use? We can use groundwater, we can use the river water, as well as the lake water as well. Okay, so water resources of India. So in India, okay, we use water mostly for agriculture. Okay, so what we do is that we do irrigation on a very large scale, in order to bring water from rivers as well as from lakes to do agriculture. Okay, water is used in India mostly for agriculture purpose. Okay, so you can see that. So what do Indians do? Okay, in most part of the region, okay, or in most part of India, they don't have access to a large number of waters. Okay, so in this kind of situation, they build up, they build up canals, they divert river channels and bring it in their location, so that they would be able to do agriculture, or maybe using tube well. The second picture in the middle, it is the tube well. Okay, what they do is that they bring water from nearby river, lake, or ponds, okay, clear, through the pipe channel, and then they will use it in their cultivation of crops. Okay, as well as they make tanks as well, so that they will be able to do agriculture with that water as well. Next is conservation of water. How do we conserve water? Okay, number one, so industries pollute water by discharging various chemicals in the water, so they should have water treatment facilities and should process their water before discharging it in the water channel. So most of the industries in India, they just discharge off their chemical waste just like that. Okay, so what they should do is that they should build up treatment facilities, water treatment facilities. Okay, when they use the water for processing or making different chemical items, before throwing it off, okay, they should process it, okay, in water treatment facility, so that the water would not pollute the other fresh water, or maybe the underground water. Okay, so they should have water treatment facilities, so that they would not discharge off chemicals into the water as well as in the groundwater, which will hamper the living condition of people. Next, we have, people should adopt ways such as rainwater harvesting, collecting water when it is raining. Okay, because now in this present world, most of the water is being contaminated by chemicals, as well as the groundwater level is going down. So we should try to harvest rainwater and then use the water again. We should also adapt to using sprinklers. Okay, using sprinklers in order to water our plants. Okay, when we just use it in other ways, we will be wasting more amount of water. So we should adapt to using sprinklers in our cultivation, or maybe in our garden as well. Okay, we should plant more trees. If we plant more trees, then there are ways we can generate as well as store water for a very long period of time. So everyone has to, plant more trees and use very systematic way for conserving water as well. So thank you. We will continue with the next class as well. Okay, so be home and stay safe.